I had been in a secret relationship with Adam for many years, supporting him from being an unknown to becoming a top-tier star. Just when we were about to discuss marriage, he suddenly lost his memory and forgot about me. After being invited to appear on the same reality show, he started creating buzz with a rising young actress through shipping. Meanwhile, I was criticized online for being pretentious and acting like a pretentious coquette because I tried to cozy up to him repeatedly and fainted multiple times during the show. Eventually, I stopped caring about anything. While he and the young actress were generating buzz through shipping, I started hanging out with a 19-year-old junior on the show. As the show was about to end, Adam suddenly regained his memory. Seeing how close I was to the junior, he went crazy, grabbed my throat, and kissed me. "Romina, you can only be mine." But what he didn't know was that I had already fallen ill. While he and the young actress were busy creating buzz through shipping, I had been silently counting down the days I had left to live. Chapter 1. I had been in a secret relationship with Adam for 10 years when he had an accident during filming, falling from a horse and losing his memory. He remembered everything, except for me. I wanted to talk to him and clear things up, but his manager stopped me. "Romina, do you really need me to spell it out?" I was taken aback. "What do you mean?" The manager took out a video. It was a secretly recorded clip of Adam, who had had a few drinks, his cheeks slightly flushed. Someone asked him, "You've been with Romina for so long. She's been waiting for you since she was 16 until she's 26 now. Aren't you planning to get married?" Marriage? Adam held his glass in silence for a moment, then suddenly let out a self-deprecating laugh. "I haven't really thought about it. We've been together for so long that it doesn't feel that special anymore." As I watched the Adam in the video, he felt like a complete stranger. I had been by his side since I was 16, from the time he was singing on the streets to now, when he had become a top-tier superstar. 10 years, I thought I was waiting for a grand wedding. But after all these years, let alone a wedding, he hadn't even made our relationship public. The manager continued, "You're not a match for him now, you'll only hold him back. You know that, right?" Adam had skyrocketed to fame after starring in a big-budget movie, becoming a top-tier celebrity with a solid background. Meanwhile, I was a popular yet controversial actress, never quite reaching the top, constantly surrounded by scandals. If our relationship were made public, his fans would definitely turn against him. Previously, some fans had shipped me with Adam. They even created a trending topic in their own circles. But a large group of his fans quickly flooded the space, saying, "This sister-in-law is not good enough. We don't approve. Who does she think she is to touch our idol?" Even though Adam had been drinking in the video, he wasn't drunk. He said those things with full awareness. There was no love in his words, only the frustration of feeling entangled. But after 10 years of being together, I wasn't ready to give up so easily. Chapter 2. I spent an entire week lying in bed at home, unkempt and completely drained of energy. But my agent suddenly dragged me out of the house and spent a lot of money taking me to a beauty salon. She said she had booked me for a new reality show. At first, I wanted to refuse. I had originally entered the entertainment industry just to be with Adam, and I had no real ambition for a career. Besides, I had recently been diagnosed with cancer, and all I wanted was to spend the rest of my time peacefully. But when I opened the script, I saw Adam's name on it. My agent knew about my relationship with Adam and said, "Even though Adam is in it, this show is really good. I only got you in because the original guest schedule didn't match. We haven't made much money this year, so you need to get yourself together." Of course, I needed to get myself together. I hadn't had a chance to see Adam recently, but now that we're both on the same show, I could finally see him again. 10 years of love, I didn't want it to end so ambiguously, at least before I died. I wanted some closure. The show selected a total of 7 guests, 3 men and 4 women, who would complete a journey in a foreign country. Just hearing about it was exhausting. Although the doctor told me that I was in the late stages of cancer and should avoid overexertion, I still agreed to participate in the show. But I didn't expect things to go as smoothly as I imagined. For a reality show to quickly gain attention, they naturally needed to create fake couples. The most likely male lead for a shipping was, of course, Adam, who had both looks and popularity. But the most likely female lead for a shipping wasn't me. It was a 22-year-old, pure and cute young actress who had become famous through a web drama. However, this was my only chance to interact with Adam after his memory loss, so I had to endure it. The show was shot and broadcast live simultaneously, so when filming started, the live broadcast officially began. Before that, the guests hadn't been revealed online, so the audience could only guess which celebrities would be participating. The first few people to appear were pretty normal: an industry veteran known for his humor, a strong actor, a young singer, and a 19-year-old junior. The junior's name was Patrick, and he had debuted at 17 as the leader of a boy band after participating in a talent show. Despite being only 19, he already had a group of female fans and motherly fans, and his appearance caused the live chat to explode. I was the third to last to appear. My popularity was mixed, so as soon as I showed up, the live chat was filled with criticism. I always thought Romina was such a pretentious coquette. Don't you think? I agree. Why did the production team invite her? I suddenly don't want to watch the show anymore. But there were also fans who stood up for me. What did Romina ever do to you? The production team invited her, which means she's good enough. After me came the pure and cute actress, Molly. She wore a high ponytail and a fresh t-shirt paired with jeans. Compared to my strapless dress, it was clear who was relaxed and who was uptight. But my cancer was in the late stages, and my face had started to show signs of illness, so I could only cover it up with heavy makeup. Sure enough, the live chat was already mocking me because of Molly's fans. Look at our Molly. Then look at that pretentious coquette Romina. It's a travel show, and she's dressed so formally. I heard the show is going to a desert. Is she planning to wear her 8-centimeter heels there too? Such a fake. Molly is so much more refreshing and pure, like a college girl. Molly winked at the camera. Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I am the spiritual nitrous oxide of this trip. I hope you'll all support me during the journey. The live chat immediately went wild, flooding the screen with comments about how cute she was. Standing behind her, I felt a tightness in my chest, and while I tried to suppress the overwhelming taste of blood in my throat, my brow furrowed involuntarily. Although the movement was small, the fans in the live chat noticed it. What the hell is Romina's problem? We're live, and she's frowning. Can't she at least try to hide it? I knew she was a pretentious coquette. In her previous shows, they edited out the bad stuff because of her connections. But now that it's live, she can't hide her true self. Yeah, I've always thought Romina was really manipulative. That old coquette is just jealous of our lively Molly. Molly is the energy booster, and she's just the resentment booster. The production team saw how heated the live chat was but didn't do anything. After all, the point of the show was to watch glamorous celebrities stumble through awkward and embarrassing situations and conflicts during their journey. The show hadn't even officially started, and my fans were already clashing with Molly's fans. This kind of explosive attention was something the production team wouldn't want to miss out on. Chapter 3. As the most popular celebrity of the moment, Adam was the last to appear. The moment he appeared, the number of viewers in the live stream surged to its peak. After briefly greeting the audience through the screen, he went around to greet each of us, the other guests. The moment Molly saw Adam, her eyes lit up, and she acted like a shy girl meeting her idol in front of the camera. Covering her mouth, she hid behind one of the senior guests. I've liked Adam Senpai for so long. It was because of him that I auditioned and started acting. Molly had gained some fame as a social media influencer a few years ago. Later, she auditioned for a web drama and landed the lead female role, which led to her entry into the entertainment industry. Before she became famous, she had repeatedly mentioned in the media that she was a fan of Adam. Adam became a sensation at the age of 20. So back then, Molly would have been just a 15-year-old girl. It was natural for her to have a crush on Adam. When Adam greeted her, her face turned red, and she was too shy to even look up at him. Adam Senpai. My name is Molly. I've liked you for a long time. Adam had always been polite and knew how to maintain his public image. He was the perfect idol in front of the camera, flashing a flawless smile. Molly-san. Nice to meet you. I'm Adam, and I've seen your work. The live chat went wild, with fans squealing in delight. Aw, don't hate me, but I think they look perfect together. A love that meets at the top. Adam was just being polite, not lingering in conversation with her. After greeting Molly, his gaze fell on me, calm, indifferent, without any hint of personal emotion. He said, "Romina, hello, I'm Adam." I looked into his eyes, feeling the sharp sting of his cold and distant demeanor. 10 years ago, that 17-year-old boy had stood under the cherry blossom tree, reached out his hand to me, and said, "Romina, hello, I'm Adam." Back then, his eyes sparkled with light, and my heart was moved. Today, 10 years later, the same words only filled me with coldness. The boy I had loved for 10 years no longer remembered me, but in front of the camera, I forced myself to remain calm. My fingers clenched tightly, not caring that my nails were digging into my palms. I extended my hand towards him as well. "Adam, hello, I'm Romina." Chapter 4. The reality show officially began. The first episode involved everyone meeting at the airport, followed by a game to determine who would get to sit in first class and who would be in economy. Out of the 7 of us, only 2 could secure first-class seats, so everyone was putting in their best effort to win the games. Perhaps it was because I was terminally ill, but my luck was unusually good. During the pitch-pot game, I hit the target every time and ultimately secured one of the first-class seats. Seeing my shining moment, my fans, who had been relentlessly criticized, finally had a reason to cheer. "Did you see that?" For those who said my sis only survives in reality shows thanks to editing, this is live, and she hit every single shot. My sis is the best, unlike some whiny drama queens who couldn't hit anything. Adam, often referred to as a game black hole, ended up with a seat in economy class, right next to Molly. The other first-class seat went to the 19-year-old junior, Patrick. He hit 9 out of 10 shots and, when asked how he did it, explained that he was part of his school's archery club. 19 years old, still just a kid, and he sat next to me. After sitting down, I asked the flight attendant for a cup of hot water and prepared to take the medication prescribed by my doctor. Patrick leaned over, curious. "Wow, why so many pills?" I glanced at him, since I was going to die anyway. I didn't bother pretending to be polite or gentle. I said, "Diet pills. Kids shouldn't ask too many questions." To my surprise, he reached out his hand. "Give me one too. I've been gaining weight lately." I couldn't help but laugh and handed him a pack of Skittles from my bag. Chapter 5. The first stop on the show was Belgrade, one of the oldest cities in Europe. By the time we landed, it was already evening. My body was already weak from the illness, and after the long journey, I felt like I was falling apart when I got off the plane. The rules of the show dictated that each person would take turns being the tour guide for a day. The guide for the first day was Molly. She led us to the hotel based on the address she had booked through an app. But when we arrived, we discovered that it was part of a chain, and the hotel we had booked was actually in another location about an hour and a half away. At this point, it had already been over 2 hours since we had landed. I watched her, a young girl with limited English skills, and I could feel my strength fading fast. I struggled to suppress the overwhelming taste of blood rising from deep in my throat. I stepped forward and asked her, "Do you need help? I can talk to the hotel for you." My English was quite good, and I didn't need any dubbing for my TV roles. I was just trying to help. But Molly suddenly looked at me with teary eyes. "I'm sorry, Romina. I can't seem to do anything right. You can blame me." I forced myself to stay upright. "I'm not blaming you, but it's already late. The sooner we get to the hotel, the sooner we can rest." But then Molly burst into tears. I really tried my best. I didn't know there were 2 addresses for the hotel. Her sobbing made my head pound, and the live chat was buzzing with comments. "What's Romina's problem? Bullying Molly like that?" "Yeah, everyone makes mistakes." Before I could say anything else, Adam walked past me and took the phone from her hands. Adam's voice was gentle. "Let me take a look." Molly suddenly wiped away her tears and smiled. "Thank you, Adam and I. What would I do without you? Am I just part of their game? Because you sure didn't say that when I offered to help." Chapter 6. But at least with Adam's help, the process of finding the hotel became much smoother. However, just as we arrived at the entrance of the hotel, a new challenge emerged. The hotel was an old one, And from the front desk to the main building, there were dozens of steep steps. I weighed my suitcase in my hand and immediately felt doomed. If I weren't sick, I might have been able to muster up the strength to carry it up. But now that I was ill, I was much weaker than before. Another girl immediately complained, "Oh my gosh, these steps! How are we supposed to carry our luggage up here?" There were only 3 men with us: Adam, the 19-year-old junior, and a senior actor in his 50s. Everyone was exhausted from the day, and no one was obligated to help others with their luggage. One of the stronger girls just hefted her suitcase and carried it up herself. In moments like this, anyone who made a fuss would probably get criticized. Even though I was on the verge of giving up, I knew my agent wouldn't tolerate any bad behavior. If I caused a scene, she might lose her job. So, I gritted my teeth and started dragging my suitcase up the stairs. Molly followed right behind me, but after just 2 steps, she almost twisted her ankle and had to turn back to Adam with a pitiful look. "Adam and I, could you help me with my suitcase?" Adam, whose luggage was still at the bottom of the stairs, immediately went over to help Molly, completely ignoring me as I struggled up the stairs with my heavy suitcase, feeling like I might collapse at any moment. The discomfort of my illness, the exhaustion from the journey, the sadness of being in a foreign country with no one to help, and the heartbreak of seeing my former lover not remember me and choosing to help someone else, it all nearly brought me to tears. But I didn't want to show my vulnerability in front of the camera, so I kept my head down, letting my hair cover my tearful face. However, with my long hair blocking my view, I missed a step while climbing, and the weight of my suitcase almost sent me tumbling backward. At that moment, someone caught me from behind with one hand and grabbed my suitcase with the other. I turned around and saw Patrick, a pair of black headphones around his neck, looking fresh in a simple white t-shirt. He said, "Sister, girls are supposed to play weak. Look at the ones who do it right. They always have someone to carry their luggage." He met my eyes and saw the redness in them but pretended not to notice. Protecting my pride, after making sure I was steady, he carried both his suitcase and mine up the steps in long strides. Standing at the top, he looked down at me with a bright smile. "Sister, if you give me $200, I'll be your servant and carry you up too." I rolled my eyes. "Don't even think about getting a penny from me." Then I quickly climbed the remaining steps. The live chat at that moment. Haha, I never noticed how funny Patrick is before. Their interaction really reminds me of me and my little brother. I'm totally shipping this, in a sibling way. Of course. Chapter 7. The next day. We had an early start as we were scheduled to go boating and snorkeling. Since there weren't any nearby breakfast spots, the eldest sister in our group suggested cooking noodles for breakfast. She mentioned that she had packed some in her suitcase. I was up early, so I joined her in preparing breakfast. Back when I was with Adam, I used to wake up even earlier than him to cook him noodles before he rushed off to film. This was a rare opportunity, and I wanted to make him a bowl of noodles just like before, not hoping that he would remember me, but just that he might recognize the familiar taste. However, time was tight, and I could only manage to make a slightly different version. I knew that viewers in the live chat might criticize me for giving Adam special attention, but I didn't care anymore. I was dying. After all, worrying about everything would be too exhausting. So, when everyone was seated in the dining area, I brought the bowl of noodles directly to Adam. "Adam, I heard you're from X city. Try this and see if it tastes like home." Adam was taken aback. His eyes filled with surprise and unfamiliarity as he looked at me. Thanks. He seemed uncomfortable with my gesture and was awkwardly unsure of how to start eating. Just then, Molly, dressed in cute pajamas, came out of her room. She spotted the bowl of noodles in front of Adam, and her eyes lit up. "Wow, that looks so delicious. Adam and I, can I have half?" Before coming on the show, Adam's agent must have warned him not to get involved with me. So when Molly asked, he quickly passed the hot potato over to her. "I'm not really in the mood for noodles. You can have them." Molly beamed at him. "Wow, thank you, Adam and I." The noodles I had made with care ended up being enjoyed by someone else, and I didn't even get a chance to taste them myself. Just then, Patrick walked in. When he saw the noodles in front of Molly, his eyes also lit up. "Wow, I was just craving something like this. Let me have some. Without waiting for a response, he grabbed his chopsticks and took more than half of the bowl, leaving Molly scrambling to stop him. Leave me some. Patrick raised his bowl above his head. At 186 centimeters tall, it was impossible for Molly to reach it. You took them from someone else first. I'm being nice by only taking half. Patrick was young, and everyone just assumed they were playfully teasing each other. Despite Molly taking the entire bowl of noodles I had made, my mood improved considerably watching the two of them bicker. Chapter 8. The morning snorkeling and afternoon boating were both outdoor activities. Before I got sick, I loved exercising, so I managed to keep up with the snorkeling in the morning. But by the afternoon, under the scorching sun and feeling slightly sunstruck, I began to falter. I told the group that I didn't want to participate anymore. With me out, the remaining 6 could pair up easily. Molly was quick to jump in, saying she wanted to team up with Adam, and Adam agreed. Watching them walk towards the beach together, I suddenly regretted not pushing myself to participate. If I had been in the same boat as Adam, it would have given us some time alone, a chance to ask him some important questions, but it was too late for that, so I could only sit back and rest. As I watched them happily enjoying themselves on the water, I hid under the shade of an umbrella, feeling a pang of envy. If I weren't sick, I could be standing under the sun with the same enthusiasm. In fact, if my cancer had been detected earlier, it could have been cured. But at that time, Adam's career was on the rise, and I was too focused on taking care of him to notice that something was wrong with my own body. Later, I got busier with work, and there were several times when I fainted at home, and Adam didn't even notice. It wasn't until my best friend couldn't reach me by phone and came to check on me that she found me unconscious in the bathroom. That's when I found out I was in the late stages of cancer and didn't have much time left. I hadn't had a chance to tell Adam before he lost his memory. After his memory loss, his agent, who had always opposed our relationship, cleared out everything related to me from his life, pretending I never existed. As I sat under the umbrella, I noticed a little boy by the shore trying to retrieve his sandals, but the waves kept pushing them away. I was worried he might walk too far into the sea, so I rushed over to help. But just as I helped the child put his sandals back on, I stood up and everything went black. I collapsed on the sand. Chapter 9. After I fainted, I was taken to the hospital. The show's production team informed the other guests, and the boating game was cut short. By the time Adam and the others arrived, I had already regained consciousness. I had begged the hospital not to reveal my condition, so everyone just assumed I had fainted from low blood sugar. Patrick was the first to speak up. Sister, maybe you should stop dieting. Look, you've fainted. Molly chimed in, concerned. Sister, are you dieting? That's not good for you. You should eat more. Like I do. The live chat was buzzing with comments. She fainted from dieting? I thought it was something serious. Yeah, some people have to starve themselves to lose weight. Unlike our Molly, who's naturally thin. Oh, come on. Molly's face looks round as a pancake on camera. I don't even want to get into that. Why do I feel like Romina is faking it? Same here. She didn't faint under the hard ground of the umbrella, but on the soft sand by the beach? Too convenient. She made Adam noodles this morning. She probably couldn't stand seeing him in the same boat as Molly. But I couldn't care less about what they were saying. Lying on the hospital bed, pale and weak, I looked through the crowd towards Adam. He noticed my gaze but only said one thing, his tone indifferent. Get some rest. I let out a bitter laugh. I had fainted at home so many times before, and he never noticed. Now that he's lost his memory, why would he care about me? Chapter 10. The show wouldn't stop filming just because I fainted. That night, I stayed in the hotel while the other guests returned to pack their things and head to the next location. I planned to join them once I felt better. I didn't expect Adam's agent to show up that evening. He couldn't approach me earlier with the cameras rolling, but now that I was alone in the hotel, he took the opportunity to find me. He still wore that impatient look. Romina, I've told you before, stay away from Adam. You two aren't a good match. I lay on the bed, staring coldly at him. I've been with him for 10 years. Whether we're a match or not, I'll wait for him to regain his memory and hear it from him directly. You think he'll love you again if he gets his memory back? The agent sneered. There's no love left between you two. It burned out a long time ago. Otherwise, why didn't he ever go public with your relationship? Why didn't he marry you after all these years? I was stunned, recalling how Adam's attitude toward me had indeed grown colder over the years. At the beginning, when we lived together in a dimly lit rental, his eyes sparkled with love whenever he looked at me. But as he became more famous, as his career soared, I began to disappear from his gaze. Seeing my silence, the agent left me with one last remark. I know you've been with him for a long time. We're willing to compensate you for your loss. We'll give you 10 million yuan. Just pretend you never knew Adam. 10 years of my life, worth only 10 million yuan. Ridiculous, isn't it? I was there for that boy. From having nothing to where he is now. When we were at our poorest, I took 500 yuan from home, and we shared a bowl of instant noodles to get by. When his career was struggling at the start, an investor took a liking to me and demanded that I accompany him for drinks. For Adam, I spent an entire night drinking with that investor. Adam waited outside the private room, and I managed to secure the role that would give him his big break. That night, under the bright moonlight, that boy held me under the street lamp, crying uncontrollably. He said, "Romina, my Romy, I'll give you the best life. I'll marry you with the grandest wedding." For that promise, I endured the rumors that spread after my drinking photos surfaced when I became famous. I never regretted it. But when did everything change? It seemed to start before he lost his memory. He began ignoring my desire to go public, forgot our anniversaries, and kept working on my birthday. He stopped loving me a long time ago, didn't he? Chapter 11. I spent one night in the hospital. The next day, feeling better, I caught up with the group. By the time I arrived, it was already evening. We were staying in a beautiful guest house with a lovely courtyard, and the other guests were already out there, gathering around a bonfire. Everyone was taking turns showcasing their talents. A blonde, blue-eyed young man had just finished performing his traditional dance when he suddenly walked over to me with a rose in hand. In English, he asked, "Beautiful lady, may I have the honor of a dance?" The other guests urged me to go up. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Adam talking with Molly, and whatever they said made them both smile at each other. Feeling a pang of bitterness, I extended my hand to the young man and joined him in a tango in front of everyone. I had learned tango for a year with a private instructor to prepare for a movie role. Even after filming ended, I continued taking classes occasionally, so I still remembered the steps. When the dance ended, the applause was thunderous. The young man kissed my hand before escorting me back to my seat. I glanced at Adam again, but his attention was still elsewhere, nowhere near me. Molly then playfully insisted that Adam perform something, half-heartedly. He agreed and walked up. Adam had originally studied music, and we first met when I ran into him playing guitar on the street after a fight with my family. My stomach had been growling with hunger, and he had said, "If you sing with me, and we earn some money, I'll treat you to a meal." So, for a meal, I wiped my tears, picked up the microphone, and sang a duet with him while he played his guitar. Afterward, he walked me home. Looking at my school badge, he said, "Romina, nice to meet you. I'm Adam." I always felt that Adam shone when he sang. It was the version of him I loved the most. But after choosing acting as his career, he rarely sang anymore. As he was nudged up on stage this time, there was a guitar nearby. I thought he would play and sing like he used to, but he only held the microphone, sang a few simple lines, and then stepped down. Molly enthusiastically applauded. I watched Adam as he walked back. When did he become like this? The Adam I once knew would never miss a chance to showcase his talents. But now, even standing on stage, he wasn't the same as before. The man I once loved so deeply had become someone entirely different. As I was lost in thought, a sudden strum of a guitar chord snapped me back to reality. I turned sharply to see Patrick on stage, strumming his guitar in a cool riff. After showing off his fingerstyle skills, he pointed at me and said, "Tonight, this song is dedicated to the most beautiful lady here." He then began singing the theme song from a romantic drama I had starred in. His energy was infectious, and the look in his eyes sparkled with admiration. For a moment, I saw a glimpse of the young Adam in him, and suddenly, I wasn't sure anymore. Did I still love Adam? Or had our love already withered away in the countless times he ignored me? And now, was I just clinging to memories of the past? Chapter 12. The next day was a free day for everyone, and one of the other girls in the group liked to go off on her own. Adam, the eldest sister in the group, and Molly planned to shop for luxury goods and explore the local market. Everyone had their own plans, and I was the only one left behind at the guest house. I didn't mind. After what happened the night before, I had spent the entire night dreaming. I dreamt about when we were teenagers, busking on the streets with Adam, and I dreamt of him promising to marry me with the most luxurious wedding. But then I dreamt of him losing his memory and forgetting me, and that luxurious wedding was with someone else. I didn't sleep well, so by the time I woke up, the guest house was empty. I was content to enjoy the quiet and not worry about whether Adam had gone off to spend the day with Molly. I put on some music and started cooking noodles for myself in the kitchen. I was humming along to the song when suddenly Patrick's voice startled me. "Sister, can you cook me a bowl too?" He scared me half to death, and I turned around to see him standing in the doorway of the kitchen, his hair a mess like a bird's nest. "What are you doing here?" He shot back. "Why shouldn't I be here?" Too tired to argue with the kid, I made extra noodles and served him a large bowl while I took a smaller one for myself. When he saw the bowls, he asked, "Sister, are you on a diet again? Just eat your noodles." Chapter 13. After finishing his noodles, Patrick called the others and found out that everyone else had gone out to have fun. We looked at each other in confusion. "Maybe we should just catch up on sleep today," I suggested, but he glanced at the camera and said, "But the show's paying us. If we just sleep all day, it doesn't feel right to take the money." I nodded. "True, they're paying us quite a bit." The live chat erupted with laughter. Haha. I really love this sibling shipping. Not many honest artists like this in the industry. If you don't feel right about the money, why don't you two put on a show for us? In the end, I planned out a route, and Patrick followed behind, carrying my bag. I treated him like a younger brother, so it was easy to relax around him. We joked and bantered the whole way, like a comedy duo, coming up with countless funny lines. Along the way, we even ran into a little girl trying to force us to buy flowers. Mistaking us for a couple, I quickly put on my sunglasses. "You're mistaken. I'm his mom." Patrick played along effortlessly. "This isn't my girlfriend. She's the stepmom my blind dad found for me." After that performance, our live stream viewership shot up, surpassing all the other guests. The hashtags Romina, Patrick, and stepmom even started trending on social media. Chapter 14. As our popularity surged, both Patrick and I began getting more screen time. Initially, we were the least popular guests, Patrick, a newcomer, and me, a semi-famous actress with a mixed reputation. But now, our shipping had gained more momentum than even Molly and Adam's, and the show's producers weren't about to let that go to waste. Our next stop was the Kalemegdan Fortress in Serbia. The 2 days of filming and traveling in Serbia had drained everyone's energy. Even the usually cheerful eldest sister of the group was visibly irritated by the end. That evening, after finishing our tasks and returning to the guest house, she went straight to her room, leaving the atmosphere noticeably tense. To break the awkwardness, Adam offered to cook noodles for everyone. Cooking noodles was something I was good at, so I volunteered to help. Adam didn't refuse, but the way he looked at me was still distant and unfamiliar. Molly, who had been complaining about being tired, suddenly perked up when she heard Adam was cooking and eagerly volunteered to assist. And so, the small kitchen became crowded with the three of us. I had always taken care of Adam's meals and routines before, so cooking was second nature to me. Even though Adam had lost his memory, his mannerisms and some of his habits were still the same. As I watched him moving around the kitchen, memories flooded back, memories of when he would come home late after work. I'd often fall asleep waiting for him in the living room, and he would gently kiss my forehead, then roll up his sleeves and cook me a bowl of egg noodles. I couldn't eat much, so he'd always divide the large bowl into a smaller portion for me. Afterward, he'd wash the dishes while I hugged him from behind, playfully saying, "You're the best." But now, Everything had changed. He was standing just a few feet away, yet it felt like there was an unbridgeable chasm between us. As I chopped onions, tears began to fall, not just from the onions, but from the pain in my heart. Molly hovered around Adam, and the live chat was buzzing with fans swooning over their interactions. Aw, is this a glimpse of their future married life? They look so perfect together. I'm losing it. If only Romina wasn't here. She's such a buzzkill. Why is Romina always around? She's so obvious about trying to get close to Adam. Chapter 15. I tried to ignore the comments in the live chat and kept my head down, my vision blurred with tears. And in my distraction, I accidentally cut my hand. At the exact moment, Adam was offering Molly a taste of the broth with a spoon. The shippers in the live chat were gearing up for another swoon-worthy moment when I yelped in pain. The cut was deep, and the pain caused me to fling the knife away. In an instant, blood gushed from my hand. The sweet scene between Adam and Molly was abruptly interrupted. Adam put down the spoon and turned to me. What happened? I didn't want anyone to see me like this, so I quickly hid my hand behind my back. It's nothing, just a small cut. Without waiting for a response, I grabbed some paper towels, pressed them to my hand, and rushed out of the kitchen to my room. By the time I reached my room, the paper towels were soaked in blood. Panicked, I fumbled around, searching for bandages to stop the bleeding. The production crew called to me from outside the door, offering to have the show's doctor take a look. I fought back tears and insisted I was fine. I had seen that sweet moment between Adam and Molly. The person who should have been standing by Adam's side was supposed to be me, even though I tried to hide. The live chat exploded once again. Oh my god, Romina is so annoying. She totally did that on purpose because she saw Molly getting close to Adam. I'm heading to her social media to let her know what I think. Chapter 16. I shut the door and stayed inside, fumbling with the bandages as I tried to wrap my hand. Just as I was clumsily attempting to bandage the wound, I heard a noise at the window. When I looked up, I saw Patrick climbing in through the window. My room was on the second floor, overlooking the courtyard. There was some height, but being young and reckless, Patrick had managed to climb in. Before I could say anything, his gaze fell on the blood-soaked paper towels scattered on the floor. If I hadn't climbed in, were you planning to bleed to death? My eyes were still red, and the tears wouldn't stop. I didn't respond as he walked over, took the bandages from my hands, and started wrapping my wound for me. He casually pulled out his phone and turned on some music. He said, "Cry if you need to, sis. When I'm feeling down, I don't want anyone to see me either." The song playing was one from his band, and Patrick's voice was easily recognizable. Inside the phone, he was softly singing. Outside the phone, he was gently bandaging my hand. The lump in my throat grew, and the pain in my chest became unbearable. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. It hurts so much, Patrick. It really hurts. Patrick paused for a moment, still looking down through his tousled bangs. I could see his long, curled eyelashes. He said softly, "Cry it out. It always hurts a bit when you're moving forward." Chapter 17. That night, while I was taking a shower, I coughed up blood in the bathroom. The blood wasn't bright red anymore but a dark, brownish color. My hands trembled as I called the doctor. The doctor's response sent a chill down my spine. I had less than 2 months left to live. With that news, I couldn't wait any longer. I waited until everyone was asleep and quietly slipped out of my room to find Adam. The pain was unbearable, and I hoped that just talking to Adam might ease it a little. With the live stream turned off and the production cameras not rolling at night, I didn't have to worry as much. I reached Adam's door and knocked softly twice. Adam's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" I cleared my throat. "It's Romina." There was a pause, but he didn't seem inclined to open the door. "It's late. What is it?" His tone was polite but distant, making it clear that he didn't want to open the door or be associated with me. I leaned against the door, suppressing the metallic taste of blood rising in my throat. "I just need to talk to you for a bit." "It won't take long." But Adam still didn't open the door, and he politely tried to send me away. "It's really late. Can we talk about it tomorrow? You should go back and rest." I fought back tears, about to plead again when I heard a click. I turned and saw Molly lowering her phone. She smiled sweetly at me. What a coincidence. Romina, you're here to see Adam too? I frowned, wondering what she intended to do with the photo she had just taken. Holding a notebook, she walked up to me and, in front of my face, knocked on Adam's door with a sickeningly sweet voice. Adam and I'm here. The Adam who had just refused to open the door for me immediately opened it upon hearing Molly's voice. His tone was much warmer than before. Come in. Molly entered the room as she had intended, but not before glancing back at me with a smug look. Romina, it seems you wanted to talk to Adam too. I hope I'm not interrupting. Adam smiled at her. How could you be interrupting? I tried to speak up, still hoping for a chance, but Adam quickly cut me off. Romina-san, can we discuss this tomorrow, please? With that, he shut the door in my face. As the door closed, I caught a glimpse of Molly's triumphant expression, knowing she had won. Chapter 18. As the door closed and the light disappeared, I stood in the darkness, overwhelmed by a profound sense of loss. Listening to Molly's laughter from behind the door, I clenched my fists and let out a bitter laugh. Romina, look at yourself, aren't you just like a discarded dog? I forced myself to ignore the intense pain in my body and turned to leave. Adam, if you ever regain your memory and realize how much I suffered before I died, will you feel any guilt? Back in my room, I took 3 painkillers and curled up under the covers. The night was filled with nightmares, but somehow, I still managed to wake up to a new day. But as soon as I woke up, my phone exploded with notifications. It was my manager calling. She told me to check Weibo, and the moment I opened it, a wave of cold dread washed over me. Molly had posted on Weibo late last night. The post included photos of her in Adam's room discussing a script, along with her manager, and a candid shot of me standing outside Adam's door. Her caption read, "Honored to receive an invitation to star in the youth romance film The Silence of Youth alongside Adam Sensei. Adam Sensei has been so kind, even inviting me to discuss the script. I also ran into Romina-san while visiting Adam Sensei." With just a few simple words and that picture, the post instantly blew up on Weibo. The hashtag Romina late night visit to Adam rejected at the door shot to the top of the trending list, and my Weibo was inundated with thousands of hateful comments. My manager was furious. Molly is such a manipulative person. She did this on purpose. And you, what were you thinking? Going to see Adam at a time like that? Chapter 19. Because of that trending topic, everyone looked at me strangely the next day. Molly, noticing my pale face, deliberately approached me and said, "I'm so sorry. Romina-san, I didn't know that Weibo post would cause such a stir. I didn't mean anything by it." I didn't bother looking at her and coldly replied, "It's fine. I was dying. Why should I care about this anymore?" But Adam, perhaps due to the incident, distanced himself from me even further. He didn't even make eye contact with me. The live stream, flooded with viewers eager to gossip about the scandal, was filled with people mocking me. Haha, Romina is such a clown. She's a celebrity. For heaven's sake, how can she be so shameless? Knocking on someone's door in the middle of the night in her pajamas? Don't you know? She's been cozying up to directors for years. That's probably how she got those roles. She's disgusting. Can the show just get rid of this woman already? I can't stand watching her. Molly eventually deleted the Weibo post, but the damage was done, and deleting it only solidified her innocent image. Throughout the day, she continued to act apologetic toward me, even insisting on carrying my bag. My bag was large because it was filled with painkillers and other medications I needed just to get through the day. I relied on those pills to keep me going. I refused her offer several times, but she persisted. Exhausted from lack of sleep and my worsening condition, I didn't want to hear her nagging anymore, so I handed her the bag. But when we returned to the hotel and I felt unwell, I asked for my bag back. Molly suddenly looked at me with an innocent expression. "What bag?" I tried to remain patient. "The bag I gave you while we were shopping today, you offered to carry it for me." Molly pretended to recall, widening her innocent eyes. "Oh, that bag. I left it on a chair during lunch. I thought you'd pick it up. We hadn't even been sitting at the same table, and I had been feeling out of sorts all day. We hadn't even ridden back in the same car, so I hadn't noticed that she didn't have the bag." By then, I was trembling with pain, sweat beading on my forehead, and my expression was slipping. If you couldn't handle carrying the bag, you shouldn't have offered. Molly seemed startled, taking a step closer to Adam with an innocent look on her face. I was just trying to help. It's not my fault if you lost track of your own bag. Clutching my chest, I felt like I was hearing the most absurd joke. She had assured me multiple times that she would take good care of it, which was why I trusted her with it. Now the bag was gone, and she didn't even have the decency to apologize. Coupled with her sneaky Weibo post, all my pent-up frustration exploded. Molly, could you stop pretending? As soon as I spoke, everyone turned to look at me, and the cameras focused on me. The live chat erupted. Wow, she loses her own bag and blames the person who was trying to help her? I think Romina is just mad that Molly is getting close to Adam. That's why she's lashing out. Molly looked hurt. I didn't mean to. Romina-san, please don't be so upset. Adam, unable to tolerate it any longer, looked at me with disgust. It's just a bag. I'll buy you a new one if it's such a big deal. I laughed bitterly at his words, realizing that whatever affection I had left for Adam was gone. I looked at him, disappointment filling my eyes. Adam, I hope you don't regret saying that. They were all ganging up on me, and no one was on my side. My body was giving out, and I couldn't deal with them any longer. I turned and walked back to my room. I curled up under the blankets, battling the pain with sheer willpower. I don't know how long I lay there, but I was half asleep when I heard someone climbing in through the window again. I opened my eyes. It was Patrick. He carried a large bag of medicine and placed it in front of me. I know your bag was full of medicine, but I didn't know what kind, so I bought everything: cold medicine, fever medicine, painkillers, even some herbal medicine. He made me laugh, but it was a pale, weak smile. I pointed to the painkillers. Give me 3. Although he didn't understand, he brought me some water so I could take the pills. After swallowing the medicine, whether it was psychological or just the comfort of knowing someone cared, I started to feel a little better. I looked at him. You're so kind. If you were a bit older, I'd start some shipping rumors with you and ride on your fame. I was just joking, especially since I'd earlier joked about being his stepmother. But his ears turned red, and he lowered his head. Silent. I turned over and stared at the ceiling, thinking this kid was too pure-hearted. Chapter 20. Because of my late-night visit to Adam and the incident with Molly losing my bag, I became the target of online abuse. I even lost a sponsorship deal, and several of my upcoming appearances were cancelled. Honestly, I didn't mind. After being diagnosed with my illness, I had wanted to decline these commitments, but backing out would have meant paying penalties. Now that they had terminated the contracts themselves, I didn't have to pay a thing. The next morning at breakfast, Molly put on her innocent act again, trying to win me over. But a dying person has no need for politeness. I rolled my eyes and sat as far away from her as possible. Molly turned to Adam with her trademark innocent expression. Adam and I. Adam sighed and looked at me. It's just a bag. Why make such a big deal out of it? After everything that had happened, I suddenly had no expectations left for Adam. It wasn't about his memory loss. His refusal to see things clearly made me dislike him. I kept my head down and focused on my food, ignoring him. Patrick was absent from the morning activities, but he showed up at lunch, out of breath. It turned out he had gone back to the restaurant on his own to try and find my bag, but the restaurant hadn't found it, even though he didn't recover the bag. When he appeared before me, I wanted to draft a will and leave him half of everything I had. This kid is amazing. Chapter 21. That evening, the show gave us some free time. The hotel was by the beach, and after taking some painkillers, I felt better and decided to go out for some fresh air. I hadn't gone far when I ran into Adam, who had come out for a smoke. He looked as surprised as I was, but his expression quickly turned to one of disdain. Are you following me? I looked at him. His appearance hadn't changed, but he felt like a stranger. The boy I once loved had turned into this. I replied, "This is the only path from the hotel to the beach." The implication was clear. I was just out for a walk. But he didn't believe me and scoffed. I don't know what your intentions are in getting close to me, but I will never fall for someone like you. There's no need for you to take it out on Molly. She's a pure girl. And she's still young. Hearing this, my heart turned cold. Molly is 22, and he calls her pure and young, but when I was 22, I was already fighting to get him roles, even drinking with industry people until my stomach bled. My parents divorced and remarried, treating me like a burden, only to ask me for money once I became successful. I never felt the warmth of family. Since I was 16, I had been alone. Adam's presence made me feel warmth, so I gave everything for him, but I never expected that giving everything would lead to this. He lost his memory, and I have nothing left to say to him. Now, all I feel is disgust. I no longer want to be obsessed with him. In the final moments of my life, I want to be happy. I said, Adam, don't worry, I won't bother you anymore. Chapter 22. There was less than a week left of filming for the show. The producers decided to add a last-minute task, having us ride dune buggies in the desert. When we drew lots, fate played a cruel joke on me. I got paired with Adam. Adam glanced at me, his face twisted in that familiar expression of disdain. But I didn't even give him a look. Instead, I turned to the director and said, I want to pair up with Patrick. Molly, of course, ended up with Adam. Patrick was more than happy to be my driver. As we got on the buggy, he playfully asked, Sister, are you ready to handle a college guy's energy? I wrapped my arms around his waist. Bring it on. Don't go easy on me. It was my first time riding a dune buggy, and I had a blast. Patrick drove us to the top of a sand dune, and I stood there, surrounded by a sea of golden sand, arms wide open. I let the wind carry the grains of sand around me, enveloping me. When I'm gone, will I also become dust, carried away by the wind? Patrick stood beside me, mimicking my pose with his arms wide open. Then he shouted into the distance, I, Patrick, will become the greatest superstar. The passion of youth always brings tears to my eyes. I patted his shoulder. The future is yours. Patrick looked at me. You should share your wish too. Patrick had managed to shake off the camera crew, and the only camera was the small one on the buggy, so this was truly our private moment. So, I shouted into the depths of the desert, I hope those who betrayed my true feelings will get what they deserve. Chapter 23. Perhaps when death is near, even the heavens take pity. When we returned to the starting point, we received news that Molly had flipped the buggy while driving with Adam. They had rolled down the sand dune, and both of them were rushed to the hospital. Patrick and I exchanged a silent glance. Justice. At last. Everyone else rushed to the hospital to see Adam and Molly. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't make it too obvious. Patrick and I stood at the very edge of the crowd, watching as Adam lay in the hospital bed. He was injured but awake. But to everyone's surprise, the fall that had caused his memory loss from the horse accident had now restored it. His gaze met mine through the crowd, and I could see the hesitation in his eyes. With so many cameras around, there wasn't much he could say. Since his injuries weren't severe, he was discharged the same day. I could tell he had regained his memory. But after everything, I no longer felt the need to dig for answers. So, I tried to avoid him as much as possible when we returned. That evening, Adam sent me a message on WeChat. His agent had probably blocked my contact before, erasing our chat history. His first message read, I've regained my memory. I replied, congratulations. He continued, I know you've been through a lot while I was dealing with amnesia, but we still have to finish the show. Can we just keep things as they were until it's over? Afterward, we can talk things through properly. There it was, the same old Adam, even with his memory back. His career still came first. I replied, there's no need. From now on, we go our separate ways. To my surprise, he sent me a voice message. His tone still impatient. Are you upset about Molly? I told you. She's just a kid with no ulterior motives. You're an adult. Can't you just let it go? I laughed. Adam, did you forget? I'm only 26. Just 4 years older than your so-called innocent Molly. If you want to protect her, that's your business, but don't drag me into it. With that, I turned off my phone. Maybe it was because I had finally let go, or maybe because I had seen Adam's true nature. But in the days that followed, I felt surprisingly at ease. Chapter 24. During the remaining days of filming, I did my best to avoid Adam. Even though he had regained his memory, he continued playing along with Molly's shipping narrative. The only difference now was that he occasionally glanced in my direction. I knew he was waiting for me to give in. He thought I was just jealous of his shipping with Molly. As they strolled through the market in the ancient town, taking selfies together, I suddenly realized something. I didn't have a single photo with Adam that I could share publicly. The thought made my chest tighten, and before I knew it, I had a nosebleed. Patrick noticed first and immediately wiped it with his sleeve, but the bleeding wouldn't stop. I took the tissues offered by the eldest sister and pressed them to my nose, smiling at the camera. Haha. I got distracted by a handsome guy. No one seemed to notice anything was wrong, except for Patrick, who stayed by my side, handing me tissues and water. As for Adam, he just stood in the crowd, watching from a distance. I had bled in front of him many times before, and he always assumed it was just from the heat. This time, he probably thought the same. I suddenly wondered, if one day he found out my nosebleeds were due to illness, what would his reaction be? Chapter 25. That night, as everyone was about to fall asleep, Adam sent me a message asking me to meet him on the beach. I didn't want to go at first, but then I thought, 10 years of love should have a proper ending, right? I wasn't even sure I'd make it to the end of the filming. I threw on a coat over my nightgown and headed to the beach. He must have been waiting for a while. The ground was littered with cigarette butts. I had hoped that he wanted to have a serious conversation, to finally address the issues in our relationship. But his first words were, "What's going on between you and Patrick?" I paused mid-step, pulling my coat tighter around me. Since I got sick, I've lost so much weight that the sea breeze felt like it could blow me away. Adam didn't notice my unsteady stance and continued in an accusatory tone. "Are you trying to make me jealous of your relationship with Patrick just because you're upset about me and Molly? Is that really how you see me?" He responded, "I don't care what kind of person you are, but I've been in this industry long enough to know what those newcomers are thinking. He's just trying to cozy up to you to climb the ladder, isn't he?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked at him, my eyes filled with disappointment. "Adam, have you forgotten? You were a newcomer once too." He was stunned, unable to find words. After a long pause, he finally spoke again. "Just stay away from Patrick," I countered. "What about you and Molly?" His response was the same as always, "It's different with her." I couldn't help but laugh. The sea breeze whipped around us, and I remembered why I had come. I stepped closer, looking him in the eye. "Adam, I'm sick." "Then take your medicine," I smiled. "Medicine won't help. I'm dying. So please, just be kind to me." But when he heard those words, his face twisted into an annoyed expression. "Romina," he snapped, "I've told you, Molly and I are just a shipping act. We have a movie to promote together. Do you really have to lie about dying to make me break ties with her?" My eyes stung, and I couldn't stop the tears from falling. When did the boy who once cherished me so deeply turn into this? He looked at me with that same impatience. "Crying won't work on me anymore." I wiped my tears away. "Sorry. If there's nothing else, I'll be going." He never noticed how much weight I had lost due to my illness. Even Patrick noticed. Every morning, he'd give me an extra egg at breakfast, saying, "Sister, don't diet anymore. You're turning into a mummy." The summer of my 16th year will never come back. But how do I let go when my entire youth was spent with you? Chapter 26. For the final segment of the show, the producers arranged a boating activity at sea. I was paired with Molly, and that day the wind was strong, causing our small boat to sway precariously. Molly, however, was in high spirits. As she stood up to wave at Adam, the boat lost balance, and both of us were thrown into the water. Even though we were both wearing life jackets, the waves were powerful, crashing over us relentlessly, making it impossible to stay afloat. Salt water flooded my nose, and I choked, coughing up a mouthful of dark, bloody water. Molly was screaming for help, and the nearest boat was the one with Adam and the eldest sister. But the sister couldn't swim, and she was already quite old. This meant Adam had to make a choice. Molly waved desperately. "Adam and I. Save me." I looked at him too, hoping, maybe just once, He'd choose me. His eyes met mine briefly, then flicked to Molly. He hesitated, but ultimately, he jumped into the water and swam toward Molly. I knew Molly was slightly closer to him. I knew we were both wearing life jackets and wouldn't drown immediately. I knew that saving Molly would give their shipping narrative more material. But still, after 10 years of loving him, why did he leave me behind once more? A large wave surged, pulling me under the water. The life jacket began to lift me slowly, but I suddenly lost the will to fight. This place was beautiful, and dying here seemed better than withering away in a hospital. Bones protruding, waiting for the end. So, I reached up, unfastened the life jacket, and let my body sink into the sea. Chapter 27. As they say, when death is near, your life flashes before your eyes. I recalled my first meeting with Adam, the scorching summer of our teenage years, the sweetness of sharing a single popsicle as we sang on the streets. I remembered him holding me, promising to marry me in the grandest wedding. But in the end, he chose someone else. I felt myself slipping away. But just before I lost consciousness, I suddenly saw a young man breaking through the waves, desperately swimming toward me. Chapter 28. I didn't die in the sea as I had wished. That foolish Patrick jumped into the water and saved me. I drifted in and out of consciousness, through countless dreams, until I slowly came to. In a haze, I heard Adam crying, holding my hand. After I was rescued, the doctors conducted a full examination and were shocked to find that the cancer had spread to my bones. Engaging in such strenuous activities was tantamount to playing with my life. I overheard Adam talking to the doctor. How could this happen? She was always so healthy. How could she suddenly have cancer? The doctor responded, "Healthy? How little did you care about her? She's likely had this cancer for 4 or 5 years, worsening each year. It probably started with nosebleeds, then fainting spells. Now, it's beyond control. She's been surviving these past few months solely on large doses of painkillers." Adam fell silent as he recalled the times I had nosebleeds and fainted. How could this happen? How? Then I heard Patrick's voice. "Are you really her boyfriend? I've only known her for a short time, and even I noticed something was wrong with her health." Adam said nothing. The show's producers hadn't expected this situation. My manager dismissed most of the crew, leaving only the show's director. He tried to console Adam. "We'll figure out how to handle Romina's condition once we're back home. For now, there are just a few more scenes to shoot for the finale. Can we finish them?" Seeing that I hadn't regained consciousness, Adam agreed with the manager and returned with Patrick to film the final scenes. But when he came back, I was no longer in the hospital room. Chapter 29. I left. I bought a ticket and flew to a foreign country. Before boarding the plane, I posted a message on Weibo, sharing my medical record. I said, "The world is beautiful, but unfortunately, I've fallen ill. When all is said and done, we'll meet again someday." The head of the oncology department, who had been treating me, also reposted my message. "You are a strong and good girl. I hope you enjoy every day you have left." Shortly after this message was posted, it went viral. Fans dug up footage of me fainting and bleeding from the nose on multiple occasions during various shows. Comparing it with my medical records, everyone realized that I wasn't faking it. I truly was at the end of my life. I really want to cry. Our Romina has been through so much. Oh my God. I'm also a cancer patient. Chemotherapy is so painful. I can't believe she could still record such intense variety shows. Strangely enough, once they knew I was dying, everyone started to love me, but I no longer cared. Not long after this became a trending topic, another piece of news about me exploded online. It was a video posted by a fan of Molly, showing her standing on the street, emptying out my bag, then stomping on everything inside, crushing it underfoot. The fan explained, "When I first recorded this video, I thought the pills in Romina's bag were just diet pills, and I also believed Romina was targeting Molly. So I didn't release it. But now I know those pills were Romina's life-saving medicine. Between being a fan and having a conscience, I chose the latter." This caused a massive uproar, shattering Molly's image of innocence and kindness. Suddenly, public opinion about her and me completely reversed. Chapter 30. I arrived in a foreign land. changed my phone number, cut off all contact, and faced death alone. I slept all day in the hotel, only going out for fresh air when I had a bit of energy. I lost the will to live, so I stopped taking my treatment medication and relied solely on painkillers to get by. But I never expected Patrick to find me. It was my last day alive. I was standing in a seaside square in that foreign land, feeding the pigeons. The pigeons were startled and flew away. And when I looked up, I saw a young man with red eyes. I smiled. "You've got skills, kid. Managing to find me here." He smiled too. "Facing death alone might seem cool, but it's not for you." So, Patrick accompanied me on my final journey. When I died, we were sitting on the beach, watching the sunrise. I coughed lightly and said, "Come closer. Let me lean on you. I don't feel well." He obediently moved closer, and I rested my head on his shoulder. For the first time, he called me by my name. "Romina, I don't want you to die." I replied, "That's a nice thought. Maybe think of it sooner next time." He suddenly started sobbing. Okay. The sunrise that day was beautiful. As it rose, I leaned on Patrick's shoulder and closed my eyes forever. Epilogue, Adam's perspective. Romina left without any warning. She announced her cancer diagnosis on Weibo. How could I have been so stupid? I didn't even realize she had been sick all along. I went to her friends, to her manager, trying to get any information about her. I didn't want her to die. And even more, I didn't want her to spend her last moments alone. But her manager threw the harshest words at me, cursing me out when I begged her for news about Romina. She said, "Adam, you're not worthy." She showed me Romina's phone, where there was a video my manager had recorded of me drunkenly saying I didn't want to marry her. So she saw that. I also found in her phone countless threats from my manager after my memory loss, saying she wasn't good enough, saying she shouldn't be with me, saying I didn't love her. But didn't I love her? I did. It's just that so much time had passed, and I ignored so many things. I ignored her longing for marriage. I overlooked her feelings of loneliness while facing pressure alone. I took her love for granted but forgot that she needed to be loved too. Seeing my reaction, her manager's expression turned even more disgusted. She said, "Your manager was always against you being with Romina. Did you think it was for your career? Open your eyes. Adam, your manager is Molly's distant uncle. He opposed you being with Romina just to push you towards Molly." How ironic. I went crazy searching for any trace of Romina, but she was ruthless. She really didn't want me anymore. Even while recording shows, I would get lost in thought, thinking of her. The host asked me, and I said, "I was thinking of my love. I lost her." Looking into the camera, I said, "Romina, come back. Let me marry you, okay?" After that, I broke down crying on camera. My 10-year secret relationship with Romina was revealed at that moment. All the concerns I had never came to pass. I used to worry that fans wouldn't accept Romina, that it would affect my career. But once it was out, everyone just called me a scumbag. My once precious career fell apart after Romina left. Everything I had was built with Romina by my side. When she left, fate took it all back. I truly was a scumbag. I hurt my Romy. Later, news of Romina's death reached our country. My Romy died in a distant land, her ashes scattered into the sea. I ran into Patrick backstage at a show, the boy who had once been close to Romina. He saw how worn out I was and suddenly started laughing. He said, "Adam, you're such a fake." He said he was the one who spent Romina's final days with her. He said, "You had so many chances to realize she was sick. You had so many chances to make her happy, but you didn't seize any of them." I angrily grabbed his collar, and we ended up fighting backstage. Who was he to say such things to me? Romy was mine. Only mine. Later, the once brilliant star Adam slowly faded, eventually being replaced by the new, dazzling star Patrick. Epilogue, Patrick's perspective. I met Romina a long time ago. I was 11 years old when I first encountered Romina singing and playing guitar on the street. Her fingers danced across the strings, and the guitar in her hands produced a melody so captivating that the whole world seemed to fall silent when she began to sing. It was a hot day, and she was resting in the shade with an older guy. She noticed me standing under the scorching sun and walked over. using her fan to create a cool shadow over my head. She smiled. "Hey little one, what song do you want to hear? I'll sing it for you." I mentioned an anime theme song. She handed me the fan, twirled around, returned to the microphone, and began to play and sing. She was so beautiful, so dazzling. That year, she was 18, and her light influenced me, planting a seed of dreams in my heart. When I got home that day, I told my parents, I want to learn to play the guitar. For a long time after that, I would run to that spot to listen to her sing. Day after day, year after year, I grew up to be the same age she was back then, while that girl who used to sing on the street had become a star in the entertainment industry. I joined a talent show, worked hard to climb the ranks, and finally got the chance to appear on the same variety show as her. That day, they were selecting 2 spots for the archery game, and she had already chosen the first-class seat, holding the feathered arrow. I prayed silently, "God, I really like her. Please let me sit next to her." From that day on, I finally stood before her. "But God, why would you treat such a good girl like this?" She announced her cancer diagnosis and then left, far away. I nearly spent all my savings just to find out where she was. I walked toward her on a foreign street, wanting to say, "Romina, don't leave me behind." I accompanied her through the last days of her life. On the 7th day, at the moment of sunrise, she fell asleep on my shoulder, never to wake up again. I held her body from sunrise to sunset, feeling it go from warm to cold. I had once seen a beam of light, which returned to the sun at sunset. Later, I became the new top star. Standing on stage at a concert with 100,000 people, I shouted, "This song is for the one I love the most." But among the tens of thousands below, none compared to her. Not even a little. I often return to the beach where she died, watching the sun rise and set. I look at the horizon. "Romina, I'm 27 now. I'm older than you ever got to be. Romina, in the next life, give me a chance to love you." She brought a beam of light into my life years ago, and after she left, I walked alone in that light for a long time. It's hard to move mountains, and even harder to meet her again.